Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son of
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That guy over there is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic. We made it our mission to help you own it. And it's Stock Watch Sunday, my man.
Yes, sir. We back again for another one. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about, but first,
Yeah.
let's get to our starting five. Our starting five of today: Joel, Primetime DJs, Sean Dupuis, Brian Demerith, Oliver Thorpe. Thanks for tuning in, people.
We appreciate you. They showed up extra early, too, because I posted this like 3 hours ago.
Absolutely. You want to get right into it?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to talk about Doge. We're going to talk about crypto as a whole.
Yeah.
It's been a really interesting weekend for crypto. Obviously, everybody was looking at Elon Musk on SNL. Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
What'd you think?
It was underwhelming, I guess. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't like a snooze fest. It wasn't like a repeat of Battery Day, but
Yeah.
it was kind of cheesy, but I guess that's probably to be expected.
Did you like his monologue?
Thought the monologue was great. And he came out and said that, was the first person to come out and admit that he was the first host of Saturday Night Live with Asperger's.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like one of the big key takeaways.
Yeah. I know why he brought his mom on, but he shouldn't have brought his mom on.
Yeah.
That killed the whole vibe.
Yeah, it did.
Clearly, she was uncomfortable.
Yeah. there was a lot of moms on there that were kind of uncomfortable, it seemed like.
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Your day's coming, bro.
I know my birthday and my day and Father's Day are like a few days apart this year.
Yeah.
Sometimes they fall on the same day. Yeah, so we got a lot of crypto to talk about. Guys, if it's your first time here, we're actually going to talk about Doge, talk about crypto, what we expect in the market this week. As always, we got our top 5 stocks that we're going to talk about. I think we got a good, well-diversified list and hopefully answer some of your guys' questions. So if you like the content, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Let's talk about Doge. So for anybody that doesn't know, there's a couple topics to bring up, but let's start with the SNL because everybody was excited about SNL and Elon being on there, which he'd mention it, which he did mention it a couple times. He mentioned it in a monologue. He also mentioned it, I think, in the weekend update.
Yep.
But it did sell off, and it's trying to come back now. It's made up some ground already. But what's your thoughts on Doge?
Yeah, so the picture that I wanted to paint, if you guys didn't watch it, literally within 10 seconds of SNL starting, it tanked.
Yeah.
So like anybody who was a noob discovered what selling the news was all about.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. It dropped about 20% within, the first 10 minutes or so. And then it continued to tank. It fell from $71, the poor soul who bought it, or 71 cents, the poor soul who bought it all the way up at 71 cents, got absolutely wrecked and experienced about a 40% drop all the way down to 40 cents. And so I think... actually, it's probably a 45% drop, but and it's starting to come back here. Right now, it's up around 7.25%. I have to believe that there's enough interest to run this probably to $1 eventually.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's getting bought back up. Also consider this. This could potentially be a dead cat bounce as well, and I think that this could actually end up rolling back over. So I'm not saying it's going to $1 this week or tomorrow or anything like that, but I think that there's enough. I mean, it has like an $80 billion market cap, which is more than like Ford and some crazy. It's just a crazy number. So I think that there's definitely enough money behind it to get it moving. There's still that dilution factor, though.
Yeah, Barely Adequate says dead Doge bounce. What's a dead cat bounce?
So for those of you who don't know what a dead cat bounce is, it's essentially when you see a stock crash, most times it's an overreaction that you end up seeing. That's that immediate knee-jerk reaction, and then you see buying start to kind of come back in. People call that a dead cat bounce because it's kind of like, you remember watching like Wile E. Coyote back in the day, and he hits the ground and he bounces back up before coming back down to hit the ground again. Gravity usually ends up taking its toll again, and that's essentially what happens here.
I mean, as far as the price prediction, I would have to agree. I would have to agree with the dollar. I mean, the dollar's been the key mark for all the meme pushers for Doge.
Yeah.
So that would not be surprising. The sell-off was not surprising either. It wasn't like he was going to make some crazy news announcement.
Yeah.
However, what is interesting, there was news announcement that did happen. I don't know if you heard, but did you hear about the SpaceX Doge announcement?
I did.
So SpaceX is launching. Elon already mentioned that he was going to have the Doge was going to be the first coin in space.
Right.
But they're launching Doge 1 mission to the moon, where they're going to be. It's going to be paid for in Doge, so people can pay in Doge. We've already talked about the Dallas Mavericks, how Mark Cuban is accepting Doge for their store, and they've seen hundreds of thousands in revenue. They're not going to sell any of it. This SpaceX for, I think it's the first quarter of next year. Yeah, it's the first quarter of next year. So continue to be out of the hype through next year. I think $1 may be easy.
The Oakland A's too are accepting.
Oh, really?
Dogecoin for tickets. You can buy tickets with Dogecoin.
So I think there's going to be more adopters of that, especially in sports. It's very much a copycat sort of business. So I think it's a smart move. I don't think it's a smart move to not sell it like Mark Cuban's doing.
Yeah.
But it's more of like a marketing play, if we're being honest.
Absolutely. I think it's genius. Like the A's doing this, especially with baseball not being one of the more popular sports among young people, this could definitely get them in their butts in the seats for sure. And if other teams hop on board with this, it should do well for the younger crowd, and kind of puts a use case to it. So I still don't like it. I still don't own one token of Doge, but I think if you go into it with the understanding that you could lose literally all of your money, and if you're okay with that, fine. If you're not, then I would stay away from Doge still.
Yeah, for sure. So we will say our dear friend Ethereum nearly hit 4,000. I don't think it actually hit 4,000, but it's right at 4,000, trying to make its way. Potentially could break it tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we wake up and hit 4,000.
Yeah, right now it's sitting at 39.26, and I had highs of 39.88 yesterday.
Yeah. So I've been digging more and more into crypto. For those of you who are new to the channel, we've had long conversations about Bitcoin versus Ethereum.
Yeah.
I have been very, very bullish on Ethereum. And this weekend was all about crypto for me.
You were like texting me so if you guys don't know, we talk about stocks all the time, even outside of the live stream, and he was just texting me all day yesterday about stuff he was watching, and it was pretty funny.
I mean, I watched like 4 or 5 hours yesterday of just crypto stuff. And here's what I came up with. I am very close in increasing my exposure to crypto, specifically Ethereum. I may actually have another one I'm considering hedging. And I don't want to say hedging it, but a spec play crypto.
Yeah.
After all of this, and the verdict's still out, but my confidence for Ethereum has only been stronger. I got into Ethereum around 700. Obviously, that's looking great for me right now.
Yeah.
I was looking, at that point, it was like a 10% stake. I am considering increasing, maybe doubling that to 20%, growing it to 20%. My goal is to grow it to 10% of my overall portfolio. But just based on like the stuff I'm learning and I'm finding out, I feel really confident in it. Not sure yet if I wanted to go into spec play. I know people are talking about Cardano. I will say it actually made me a little bit more bearish on Bitcoin. I mean, I have no issues with Bitcoin as a store of value. I think there are going to be more and more businesses that are going to adopt it. Yeah. So I'm not saying Bitcoin's going down, but from an investment perspective, my interest level has actually decreased after what I've learned this weekend.
The interesting thing with Ethereum as well, I don't know if you caught this headline, the investor that called Ethereum when it was down to 1,200 to 3,400 is now calling for new price targets of 8 to 10,000. So Megan Casper, the co-founder of Magnetic, basically called us out back in November, and she seems to think that there's definitely a use cases now, especially with the interest in cryptocurrencies in general, that this could end up seeing 8 to 10,000. And when you compare it to how much Bitcoin has moved and how much that you could see Ethereum catching up, this, I don't own 1 ounce of any cryptocurrencies. I don't own 1 token, but this Ethereum, some of the cases that you've made for it makes me kind of want to own it at this point. And yes, it probably would be me getting in too late, or not too late, but like just getting in late. But I think that there's still room for this to run. I do think that we're still in more of a crypto bubble, but you know, I don't see how this slows down anytime soon either.
Yeah, I think one thing's for sure is certainly a dollar cost averaging approach makes the most sense with any crypto.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the growth, because think about this, like, could you imagine Bitcoin at 100,000? Right? Like it's possible it could come. It's likely going to come.
Yeah.
But like that's maybe the next number people are saying. I know some people are saying 1 million, but let's just take that off the table for a second.
Baby steps.
100,000, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about, let's just say 40% growth, or sorry, so 50. So right now it's at what, 56? So that's 44K. So it's like, say 75% growth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's great. Don't get me wrong. But people are so focused on the number, like it's going to be harder and harder for Bitcoin to establish multiples of growth because it does cost so much.
Yeah.
And so we talked about this before, like, okay, let's say Ethereum does go to 10,000, right? And right now it's 4,000. So that's what, 150%? So that's 2 times.
Yeah.
And 10,000 seems a lot easier based just on the growth it's had over the past year than Bitcoin getting to 100,000.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And we've mentioned everybody's looking for the next Bitcoin, and they're looking at these sub-penny or sub-dollar crypto assets, whatever. Well, why don't you look at the thing that's at 3,000? Because imagine getting Bitcoin at $3,000, right? Like,
Yeah.
You say, oh, I wish I'd have got it at 10 or 12 or 5 or 3. Like, you could get Ethereum. Maybe it goes to 50. I don't know. But even if it does go to 10, you still have huge upside in that.
Ethereum is finite, right? There's
Yes.
So that's the other.
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay.
No, you mean like Bitcoin where there's only a set number?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so.
But the dilution isn't nearly as bad as something like a Dogecoin.
No, yeah, correct. You are correct in that.
Okay.
But the thing with Ethereum is just the use cases are huge. And so, I mean, the bearish case on it is the emissions and the gas prices and that, but they're already working towards addressing that with 2.0, Ethereum 2.0. So, I mean, NFT exposure, which people don't talk about it enough. Ethereum and NFTs go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And then DeFi is really what you'll hear a lot about. If you haven't already, which people are talking about in DeFi, is huge. And you hear about finance. We talked about the opportunity to get interest. And you look at a traditional savings account, you get nothing.
Yeah.
Where you can get 10%, 10 to 12% currently. It could go all the way up to 20. It could go down further than 10, but you can actually get a good APY and your money's not tied up. I like all those use cases for it, and that's just the beginning of Ethereum. Bitcoin is solely reliant upon people believing that it's a store of value, period.
Yeah.
Like you can make the argument that maybe you could pay for things, but it's going to be nearly impossible, especially for it as a store of value. And for everybody saying Cardano, I'm not sold on Cardano. Bitcoin to Ethereum is like Cardano to Cosmos. And James Wang, if you guys are interested, I watched an interview with him. I thought it was great. I really liked what he was talking about. He's really bullish on Ethereum, but he was talking about Cosmos, so I started looking into it. And if you want something really speculative, I think there's a better argument for Cosmos than for Cardano. But I still got a lot to learn. So that's Cosmos, for those, that's the one that I'm looking at from a
Yeah,
spec.
the 10% APY, as far as like just having it at a place to like save my money, or at least like store it somewhere.
Yeah.
And that was what one of the big eye-opening things for me as far as Ethereum was concerned. So you might see me popping into some crypto, and I think Ethereum will be the first one that I actually kind of dip my toe in as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what's going on with crypto. We put a poll out. If you go to Own the Chaos, or if you just go to our YouTube channel, Own the Chaos at Twitter, YouTube channel in the community tab. We were just asking if you guys want to hear more about crypto. Obviously, this channel is not going to be overwhelming crypto, but just like we talk about gold, that's where things seem to be moving as far as, replacing gold in your portfolio. So I think it's worth the conversation if that's what people are interested in.
The channel name is Own the Chaos Investing.
So let's talk about the market. What are you expecting this week? What's important to consider as we move forward?
Yeah, so one thing that was really eye-opening at the end of the week last week that could be a little bit of a precursor that what could happen to the rest of the month, maybe even the rest of this quarter. The jobs numbers were really surprising. I don't know about you, but I feel as if economists should be lumped right in with weathermen, because we were expecting 1 million jobs added in April, and we didn't get those. We got something far off from that number. So 1 million jobs were expected. We got 266,000 jobs added. March, it was 1 million. February is like 750,000. And this was like really, puzzling. There's a couple of things that people were kind of drawing conclusions as to why this was. I think this obviously paints a picture that, the growth of the economy isn't just a straight line up, and that we are going to see some hiccups along the way. I think this could potentially be one. There's arguments that are being made that, the unemployment benefits that are going through September 6th, I think is the last day. That could play a factor because we're seeing no shortages of labor demand. Mm-hmm. The amount of businesses we saw from Bloomin' Brands that reported earnings, Wingstop, a lot of the other hospitality areas were like, we need people to work. Yeah. And so we're trying to figure out why they're not coming back. The other factors are, we saw a significant decline in women coming back into the workforce. I don't know if it's maybe because they're staying at home and they're able to do the things that they need to do at home. I have no idea why that is, but it's definitely something to I guess, consider moving forward, because if this is an indicator of how we're going to see things through the summer, it might not be as dramatic of a economic boom as we thought.
Yeah, I mean, hospitality. Well, I wonder first how much the gig economy plays into this. You're at home. You can work. You can still make really good money. How much does the Fivers, the Etsy's,
it's a great point.
the Upwork, like how much is that playing into it? Because just like businesses were thrown into the remote work world and the Zooms and realized that, people were thrown into the gig economy. And so I'm wondering how much that plays into it, because the convenience factor.
Yeah.
And when you look specifically hospitality, which my background's in hospitality, I've been having a lot of conversations with owners in hospitality, and it is widespread. It's funny, I just had a conversation yesterday with an institution in Baltimore, which is Bertha's, and he was saying the same thing, like, I am struggling to get people. And I'm like, what happened to your people that you had before? And they're like, I don't know, they just got other jobs.
Yeah.
But the reality from a hospitality perspective is they won't come back until you get to 100%, because it's not worth it to come back.
Yeah.
You'd rather claim unemployment than 30% capacity, 50% capacity, and you're like, well, I'm not going to make money.
The tips that I'm going to make is not going to be right. Yeah.
And so there's really a tough spot that these places are put into, the staffing, but also the businesses and the restaurants and bars are put into. Bars, again, a lot of bars aren't open or are allowed to have people standing. Like, for those of you who don't know hospitality, your money is made in liquor. Your margin is in alcohol. Food's great, but you don't have margins there.
Right. So
if you're a restaurant that serves, a bar that serves food, especially, you have a really, really tough road ahead of you.
It's very puzzling too, because like you look at the some of the other numbers that came out of the jobs report, and wages did go up by like 0.7%, which if you're not familiar with that number, it's a big number for it to go up 0.7% in the lower 25th percentile too. So the people that were making the least amount of money got raises essentially last month too. So I think businesses are trying to increase wages as much as they can, but as well as anybody, like, profit margins in hospitality is razor thin. So there's only so much that they can do. Yeah,
that's true. It is really tough. And I think we're going to see this really through the rest of the year.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard. So I feel for those guys, and it's going to be out. Those that can make it through, they're obviously going to be better for it.
Yeah.
But you're going to see a lot of collateral damage with that. But for those people there are some things that need to straighten out in the hospitality, and I won't go on a total tangent, but maybe this also forces hospitality to straighten out their act as well. Like in hospitality, traditionally, it's not known for high hourly. It's not known for benefits. It's not, and even though there aren't great margins from a tax liability perspective, you can offer benefits.
Yeah.
You can offer insurance. You can do things to minimize your tax liability. I get wages are tough to increase, but I think this may actually make the entire industry more legitimate for the long term, and more legitimacy should come better talent.
Yeah.
I feel like it just was in a flow state.
Oh, no. I love it. I love it. You bring that stuff whenever you want. Yeah, no, and it's all great points. And I know that, we can dance around some of the controversy. I guess people will make comments and whatever else, but I love having these conversations because I think they're super important. I think it's clear that we're still both very bullish overall on the economy for the rest of the year, but it's not without its snags here and there. And I think that this is just one of them that you guys are going to want to make sure that you consider.
Yeah. So before we get into the top 5 stocks, I do want to give everybody an update on some changes that are going to be happening at Own the Chaos.
Yes.
We're going to be going live a lot more, and we're going to be trying it out. It's safe to say probably for the month of May.
Yep.
We're going to be going live. So normally we do closing bell Tuesday, Thursday. We're going to be going live Monday through Thursday.
Yes.
The exception is we're not going live tomorrow because we're golfing. We're in a golf tournament. But moving forward, so this week we'll be live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. So guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell, more importantly, so you can get notified when we go live. But after this week, Monday through Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be going live. The people have spoken, so I feel like this might be good to get more interaction with the community.
Yeah, and we'll be putting clips out too. So like if you guys feel like you missed a live or you just want to see some of the highlights, we'll be putting clips out of all of our live streams as well, just to try to continue to add content, make the experience better for you guys, all that good stuff. So leave us some comments, leave us a like if you guys are about that. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun.
How many people we got in the house?
We got 240 of you guys hanging out on a Sunday night on Mother's Day. I don't know what that means or what that could represent. But thanks so much for hanging out on Mother's Day with us. If you guys could give us a thumbs up, we certainly would appreciate that. And what do you say we get into the top stocks?
Yes, sir. So we got the top 5 stocks. Guys, if you haven't been here before, we're bringing 5 stocks that we're looking at for this week. I think this week might be all earnings, or no?
No.
One's not.
One's not. One of mine is not.
Okay. So we've got a few earnings plays. But we have 5 stocks, and make sure you guys stick around because we got the Triple C condom stock of the week, the Triple C stock of the week, and the top stock on the $10. So go ahead and kick it off, bro.
So Fat Man Zoom, I don't know if you heard about this over the weekend or on Friday rather, but have you heard of Colonial Pipeline?
I'd have. Yeah. I just heard about it. This is the first time I heard about it this weekend.
Okay. So on Friday, Colonial Pipeline is responsible for about 43% of the Northeast in delivering oil and gas and diesel and all that good stuff. They got attacked. They're a victim of cyber attack, and their pipeline has been shut down. And the reopening of that pipeline is going to be pretty tough. What are we laughing?
I don't know why I'm like a child. Like for some reason, you saying pipeline is making me laugh.
We're talking about just laying some pipe.
Yeah, I don't.
You're such a 12-year-old.
I know. Sorry, God.
That's all right. But anyway.
You've said it like 12 times, so it's making me laugh every time you say it.
The Colonial Pipeline is having some trouble with their pipes.
Sounds like they need to lay some more pipe.
Somebody snuck in. And they are victim of being attacked. Their pipes are being attacked.
I'm listening.
So anyhow, the pipeline that stretches from the Gulf all the way up to the Northeast has been disrupted. Oil's already gone through the roof. This could potentially send oil continuing to fly up. Now, right now, oil futures, I just checked on them before the stream, but right now oil futures are up only about 50 cents. So at $66 per share. The thing for me, Fat Man Zoom, it's not necessarily the oil plays, even though I do own Marathon Oil at this point. I think that the services industry is also something that's been lagging. And so for me, it's going to be OIH. So if you guys aren't familiar with this is actually something that's probably not something that you see too much on this channel either. And it's just the ETF. So I got into the oil services ETF. It's, again, ticker symbol OIH. This is something, when we look at this, it closed at 217 on Friday, and the oil services have been lagging the entire industry when you compare it to the price of oil right now. So if we look at, I'm just going to go to the monthly chart, just so to give you guys perspective. So back in 2019, December 31st, 2019, oil was sitting exactly where it is right now, and right now it's actually sitting a little bit higher. When you look at OIH right now, it was sitting at 266.94, and then even if we go back to where oil is sitting right now, the price of oil, which was May 31st of 2019, and the price of OIH was at $330. Now, I'm not saying that OIH is going to go right back to that 330 mark, but I think that there's something to be said for the fact that this has been lagging behind so much that it's got to be able to catch up, especially with the rise in demand, oil in general, and now that's happening. I think that OIH could be something that could easily double from here, and at least the theory is there that it could double.
So OIH is an ETF?
Yes.
And it services pipelines?
Services pipes. Yes.
Just check.
Yes, actually it is.
I like that. I like when we bring new things to the channel. Moving on. The number 2 stock. I like my stocks
Jesus
this week.
Christ.
We've talked ad nauseum about not having overexposure in one industry. We've tried to bring to you guys recovery plays, diversification of portfolio plays.
Yeah.
We're still trying. So Aramark is going to be my next one, ticker symbol ARMK. Aramark has earnings Tuesday pre-market, excuse me. Their estimates per share, loss of 34 cents. I predict they beat, loss of 28 cents. Another one of these situations that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The thing with Aramark, their industries have been squarely impacted by COVID and the lockdown. So just 3 main ones: healthcare, education, sports. We just saw, for you guys that watched the boxing, Canelo this weekend, yesterday, in Dallas Stadium, they had 73,000 people.
That's a great fight.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I think you're going to see, with the sports coming back, schools aren't fully open yet. It doesn't matter whether they beat or don't beat this quarter.
Yeah.
It matters about their guidance. And I think that this is going to be a very, very upbeat earnings. And if you could pull it out actually 2 years.
Sure.
The one thing I do want to point out, just to talk about the state of the company, because they've had like 4 earnings in the negative. They've talked about, last quarter they mentioned strong cash flow, liquidity, they're in good position.
Yeah.
Since October, they've paid off more than $1 billion in debt, Brad. And they just announced last week that they're going to pay off another $500 million. So another $500 million worth of notes that are due in 2026. So they don't even have to do it. So that's how confident they are in their liquidity position and moving forward. And so to me, that doesn't sound like a company that's worried about the next 6 months to a year and moving further out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and you look at this, there's still plenty of upside. We're still well below the pre-pandemic highs. 38.09 is where it closed out on Friday. 47.22 is where it was before the crash. So there's still plenty of upside here. And if demand comes back like they think it is, then it should go well above those pre-pandemic highs as well. As far as the chart's concerned, I like it right here where it closed at. I mean, if it does come back down to like the $37 range, I think that certainly makes a lot of sense. This is just looking at the weekly chart, but I mean, you can see that it looks like it could definitely be a pretty good swing, and we could see a nice catalyst from that, this week. So yeah, I like that one a lot, and I like the fact that we're bringing some other ones in other than just tech stuff. Even though, like we said, tech is something that I think should still be owned, but there's things that are also continuing to move. And another one of those things that I think is going to continue to move is my next one, and it is Disney. I think that Disney is going to be good. They have earnings after hours on Thursday. Their estimated earnings per share. Their estimated earnings per share. Let me just pull this back up. Is 28 cents. I think they beat that. They usually beat earnings regardless. I think there's only been one quarter in the last 6 that they missed, and obviously the pandemic played a huge part of that. But this is a little bit of a different story than what it was with Netflix. Disney is still very much in growth mode, whereas Netflix, I think, is slowing down growth to a certain extent. But obviously they also have other things in their pocket. Sports are coming back, so ESPN Plus is going to become more in demand. Hulu also does live sports, all that good stuff. So as sports become more and more stabilized and all that good stuff, we don't have to worry about COVID as much anymore. And you mentioned, the fight last night. I think that this is something that is definitely worth owning, and it's got $200 written all over it. With Disneyland opening back up, the only other park that I think is still closed, and I should have done a little bit more research on this, but I think is only Paris. I think it's the only park that's still closed. And if we look at the chart, I mean, this has not been doing much at all. And I think that the earnings that are coming up here, especially if they have a good outlook, maybe we get some numbers from the Disneyland opening, some preliminary numbers, just to kind of see what demand looks like. If we get anything good as far as that's concerned, I think that this is going to be a good one to hold on to through earnings. And we always say that it's always risky to do this, but I think the risk reward here is really, really good.
Yeah, I think there is huge upside. I think what we're seeing is confirmation of what our thesis was, which is there's huge pent-up domestic travel demand.
Yes.
And I meant to mention this to you. It does tie in. It may not seem to tie in, but I just booked a flight to Mexico. I booked a flight on Saturday for Sunday, and I got the flight for $375 round trip to Mexico, international destination. I was just looking at flights to Mississippi. It is cheaper to fly to Mexico right now from Baltimore than it is to Mississippi.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Which shows demand. And I looked at months. I looked at June, July, August. You can't find it. Like, I couldn't find it cheaper than $400 now. I was looking direct.
Right.
But the point is, typically it can be cheaper. It could be like $200, $250. Domestic demand is going to continue to surge. And even though Disney is opening, really it's going to be about capacity. And I think that it's going to struggle. I think it'll be interesting to see how it reacts, because obviously growth of Disney Plus can't sustain what it did last year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like competing factors. But I think overall there's just such huge upside with the cruises, amusement parks. And we're going to see that as they talk about that and they show that. I mean, who's going to be better than managing that process than Disney? Who's going to be safer? Who's going to be more responsible? So I think that Disney still has a lot of upside.
Yeah, I think that grabbing it here in the mid 180s, you're going to get it on the cheap still, in my opinion. And like I said, I think this has 200 written all over it.
My next stock is Roblox. And Roblox has earnings this week, and it's an interesting stock. Roblox, this will be their second public earnings. They missed last time, so the estimates per share, last quarter, they expected 23 cents. They missed pretty poorly. They came in at a loss of 11 cents. This quarter, plus 17 cents.
Yeah.
I do think they beat. I have no reason why, because this is just a guess for a company that just recently.
Welcome to Own the Chaos.
Sorry.
But I'm saying a gain of 21 cents. Doesn't really matter. If it does come in positive, it does beat, I think that's going to look really well for the company.
Yeah.
The keys here are daily active users. Wait, what do they call them? I'm sorry. So they call them, daily active users.
Yeah.
The monetization is the bookings per daily active user. That's what I was trying to remember. Monetization is going to be really important. And this one's rather interesting because Roblox is a monster. One thing that you could make the argument for is when you're thinking about monetization, because that's really what's going to get this thing going.
Yes.
I did not realize this, but I knew it had a younger demographic, but only 15% of their users are over 25 years old.
Yeah.
Which is wild when you think about that.
Yep.
You compare it to something like Zynga, not even close.
Yeah.
And so if it comes down to money, one could say there's huge forward outlook. Are people going to continue to adopt it? I think yes, just because Roblox is more than just giving games, but it's actually a platform for designers. So it's almost like, think about like the Apple Store,
right,
where people can create apps, people can create games. So they're building an ecosystem where you can create games. But that age is going to be, from a monetization perspective, is going to be quite challenging. However, they're just so big and their popularity is growing so quickly. Their daily active users doubled in 2020 to 32 million, and I think that's going to stay on fire. So I'm interested in their earnings. I'm getting mixed signals, so I think it's tomorrow after hours, but Google says May 11th. More places are saying tomorrow after hours, so it'll be one of those days.
My earnings whispers said that it was tomorrow as well, so I think that's what we'll go with. Yeah, man, I think that this just should be interesting. Roblox is a recent IPO that has earnings this week. Bumble is another one that has earnings this week that was a recent IPO. Another recent IPO is going to be my next stock, and that is Airbnb. I think with Airbnb, it's gotten beaten down so bad. And the one thing that I think could play in its favor, I added to this last week twice. I think that it's ridiculous the price that it's at right now, given the demand that we've just talked about, people wanting to travel domestically because they feel safer than traveling internationally. Now, Airbnb does have locations internationally, but I think that when we look at Airbnb, they're primarily in the U.S.
Yeah.
And so we look at the earnings from Trivago, and Trivago is a stock that's actually down below. I don't know. It's below $5 a share, so it's still a small company. But they came out with earnings and like upgrades out the ass on this thing because of the demand. We talked about this for months now about how travel was going to be one of the biggest industries to make a roaring comeback in the economy over the summertime. Airbnb, their estimated earnings per share, they have earnings on Thursday as well, the same day as Disney after hours. Estimated earnings per share is at a loss of $1.17. And Fatman Zoom, we talked about how, the bar's been set really low for Airbnb, and I think that they should knock this out of the park. My estimated earnings per share for this one is going to be at a loss of 53 cents, and I think that they could blow that out of the water. The CEO has basically said that they need more people to rent their homes out to keep up with demand, and he's emphatically said that in between the last earnings and this one. I don't think that anything slows down for them. I mean, travel is just going to be huge. So I look at this, and can this go down? Is there downside risk? I think yes. I think the fact that you look at their product, the product is people's homes, and if there's a shortage of renters, then that could pose a problem, and people might not want to go to Airbnb, and then you lose customers to potentially hotels and that sort of thing. But I don't think that people are that eager to go into hotels. I would much rather just wait for something to open up on Airbnb than go into a hotel. I don't know about you, but I can't tell you the last time I stayed at a hotel, because as soon as I picked up on Airbnb, that was it for me. So I think that that's potentially what we're going to be seeing out of the company, even if they don't come up with some relatively decent earnings, which I would be shocked if they don't. I'm not selling a dime of this thing.
Yeah, I am really, really confident in Airbnb. This is an incredible long-term, definitely long-term investment stock.
Yeah.
To me, it's a clear buy for long-term investment. Long-term swing trade, I think it's a really good opportunity. Maybe choppy short-term, but when this thing gets a move on, it's gonna move. There's no doubt about it. Now, when they show profitable earnings, I think that's going to be the fuel that it needs. I actually think they're going to come in positive.
Oh, you think
I'm going to say that? Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand how you have.
I'm here for that.
A loss of $9 expected, and then they missed.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're the CEO, again, put yourself in the CEO's shoes. We mispredicted. So we thought it was going to be a loss of $9. It came in at almost a loss of $11 last quarter.
Yeah.
And then for your guidance, the following quarter, knowing you missed, you said a loss of $1.17. Mm-hmm. You you have to beat this quarter.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get bold, and that's a big jump.
Yeah.
So I think I would not be surprised if it's positive, and if it's positive, this sucker's going to go off. I agree with you on Airbnb. I think that's a great opportunity.
There might be some of you scratching your head and wondering, well, why last quarter where they, did they have such a miss and we're expecting them to come in positive this time around? And that has everything to do with the reopening. Back in December and even January, things were still very much the vaccines weren't carried out anywhere near what they are right now. Yeah. And I think that just kind of speaks to why we feel so confident about this particular quarter. And just go on Airbnb and try to book something. I mean, it's just damn near impossible. So I feel really good about this, man.
And Belay says Airbnb's price to sales is still really high. Yahoo Finance says $27. I hear you, but think about this. That's current sales. Like, they have huge upside to sales. It's not like it's going to be incremental.
They're going to grow into that very fast.
There's going to be a huge jump in sales, especially as they continue to add more hosts. Like, that's going to be a force multiplier as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
Oliver says, I think Airbnb has so many opportunities ahead of it with experiences. Don't discount the experiences. That's a great point. That's a huge little value add they have with great margins. And take some market share about TripAdvisor. And also don't forget Booking.com. That's a main competitor of theirs as well.
Yeah.
Darren says Elon is building condos on Mars to host Airbnb. All right, guys. So now, before we get into the next two, I want to invite you guys to ownthechaos.com to subscribe to the watch list. If you guys like these top 5 stocks, ownthechaos.com, click on get a free watch list. We send out a free watch list every day before the market opens on 5 stocks we're watching with a nice write-up and why we like it. So without further ado, the Triple C stock of the week is what?
So if you guys don't know what Triple C stock of the week is, it is short for the cheesecloth condom pick of the week. And if you ever thought about what it would be like to use a cheesecloth condom, imagine how unreliable that is. And that's why we pick a stock and use that metaphor every week. This week, Fat Man Zoom, actually I should say Friday, Nikola came out with earnings and they beat expectations. And guess what happened? Everybody bought it up. It went up 15%.
Ooh.
Guess what also happened?
What?
The SEC had another subpoena on their ass.
Oh.
The same day. So people decided to go and continue to buy this up thinking that Nikola's going to go somewhere. They still have no product. They still have no timeline on a product. The SEC is still coming down on them. This still has fraud written all over it. Don't expect any kind of big fireworks out of this thing, guys. I know it went up 15, 17%. But to be fair, I said that Doge was the Triple C stock last week, and Doge went off. So for those of you who believe in Nikola, you're welcome.
All right. Now, more importantly, the top stock under $10.
So it is going to be Trivago. I just talked about this. They had amazing earnings. If we look at the chart, this is going to be something that's going to be good for you. If you guys are looking to get into the travel industry, you want something that's nice and cheap. Trivago's trading at $3.80. Actually had a really nice move. It didn't get the kind of reaction that you would have expected from earnings themselves. So we have a little bit of a delayed reaction. The chart actually looks pretty good on the daily. We got up above that $4 mark, and I think that Trivago could really accelerate, and we had all kinds of upgrades from this. I think that there's potential for Trivago to hit around $5 a share. So from here, I mean, that's a pretty significant jump, about 40%. So I think that we talk about the travel industry. You want to look at something that's nice and cheap. This is under $5, so technically a penny stock. I like Trivago here. Nice.
I want to throw one in there, because somebody asked about it earlier.
Okay. What you got?
I'm putting Drive Shack on there.
I had a feeling this was coming.
Drive Shack got hammered after earnings. Full disclosure, I glanced at it. I sort of read through, but I haven't listened to it. I plan to do that probably Tuesday. But here's the thing that some of you may or may not remember. First, this shows a lot of volatility, very normal. This is a reopening stock, but they had an offering at $2.40. So I think $2.40 is that mark that's really, really strong. And I highly doubt we see it go below that. Is it possible? Yes.
Yeah.
But the reason for me is because they have 3 putteries open. And in June, I want to say DC opens in June. So it's right around the corner.
Yep.
Great opportunity to get in. And just the hype in that and if it stays on track, if it opens on time,
Yes.
I think that's going to be huge for them.
And I think they do. I mean, we think about the first quarter, and there was a lot of challenges here for anything that was in the reopening side of things. So I like Drive Shack as well. The second quarter should be huge for them. If it's not, then I think that would be more of a cause for concern, not necessarily the first quarter. I love this as a reopen play. I think they crush it in the summertime, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. And they're going to have 7 by the end of 2021 is what they say.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And we just talked about Dallas is one of them. So it's Dallas, Charlotte, and DC that'll all be open by the end of summer.
Yep.
And we just said Dallas is wide open. So that one should crush.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Keep an eye on those guys. I hope you like those. You want to tell people about the Chaos Crew, bro?
Yeah, so if you guys want to join the Chaos Crew, you want to get a watch list from us, you want to get into our Discord group, you want to get access to my portfolio, all that stuff, trade alerts. Every time I make a trade, I let everybody know about it. If you guys want access to that, it costs $4.99. Did you know that, Fat Man Zoom? Costs $4.99. That's
good.
If you guys
good to know.
are having a hard time trying to find stocks to trade in the morning, or at least where to go, a direction to turn to, we provide that for you guys. If you hit the join button next to subscribe, you can become part of the crew. You can see all the cool little icons next to people's names. They're also part of the crew, and we'd love to have you guys in there.
Yeah, speaking of, so I have a question. I want to take one question from Oliver Thorpe. He said he likes Roblox for future prospects. Do we think we should get in before or after earnings? I want you to answer this first. I will say, I wrote to him, if you want to get in, I've maybe established a starter. I would wait. Personally, I am interested in getting in only because we've seen this with tech companies that they've been beaten down.
Yes.
And so this could see some tremendous volatility. So if it has a massive double-digit move down, I think it would be a great entry opportunity. Even if it moves up, I think you'll see some profit taking after the move up.
Yeah.
So if it were me, and I am interested in potentially getting Roblox, I would probably wait till after earnings. But it could move before that.
Yeah, I think that if you're going to buy Roblox and try to trade it based off of earnings, it's how we approach all of our earnings plays, especially if we're not in it beforehand, and that is just go into it with money that you can afford to lose. Or if you're thinking about holding it long term, taking a very small amount of the full position size that you have in your mind that you plan on owning of something like a Roblox, and then taking a small portion of that, you could always average up. People think that averaging up is just a terrible thing, and it's just not. You just look for weakness to buy into, and if it's up higher than your original entry, then you're fine. I think that that's a perfect way to scale into something.
Yeah, and I'm going to close this out with a quote from Darren Anderson, Chaos Crew member, Green Bull. This is the best crew anywhere. I've doubled my money this year so far.
Hell yeah.
These guys are the best. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. That's all I got.
Hey, you know how you throw me some rapid fire stuff?
Yeah.
Can I throw some to you?
Sure.
All right. So I know that people are going to ask about this. So Palantir is something we didn't talk about the entire show. They have earnings on Tuesday pre-market. What do you think happens?
Man, that's a great question. Palantir, what do I think happens after earnings?
Yeah.
I think it sells off.
They've already gotten beaten down. You think they go down further?
Yeah, I think it can go down further. I think tech's just been no love for tech.
Yeah.
But I will say I think it'll get beaten down, and it is a clear buy.
Fubo TV. They have earnings after hours on Tuesday.
Ooh, that's a good one. I would buy.
Okay.
I would buy. I think they're going to do well.
I have two more. Wix has earnings before pre-market. We just talked about how we have. Oh, I'm sorry. There's also Simon Property Group on here. They have. We talked about the gig economy and gigs becoming more of a thing. So, what do you think about Wix?
I think Squarespace is planning to go public. I'm a bigger fan of Squarespace. Wix isn't bad. I like the company. I think for the long term, it's a buy. For the short term, I would not get into it. It's hard year over year. Year over year growth is going to be hard the next 2 or 3 quarters. Tattooed
Chef. Earnings Wednesday after market.
Hold on. Let me just look at the number real quick. I just want to look at the number real quick.
And while you're looking at the number, because I know that you could probably just think this off the top of your head, Affirm has earnings Monday after hours.
Yeah, that's a buy.
Okay.
It's got to be a buy.
Yeah.
Based on what Peloton did, I think that's just nice to know going into it, and
Yeah.
I think that's promising for it.
Yeah.
Tattoo Chef, can you pull up the chart?
Yeah.
TTCF. I said this before. I like Tattoo Chef better than BYND. So
Yes.
let me just say that for the record. I would take a flyer on Tattoo Chef. So their estimates are 3 cents, positive 3 cents.
So Beyond Meat came in and missed earnings last week.
Yeah.
And you think Tattoo Chef comes in and beats them?
Yeah, I'm going to say that.
Okay.
I'm saying Tattoo Chef beats.
Tattooed Chef's in the, or Fat Man Zoom's in a Tattooed Chef group. He's in the clan. He's on Team TTCF this week.
Not. I'm clearly not. Short term, I like it. Long term, I don't.
Hey, real quick, I also just want to throw my own thing in here. Simon Property Group, I own personally. I think that they have earnings after hours on Monday. I think they crush it. Their dividends are great. This is worth owning. Maybe wait till after earnings come out to see if you get a good opportunity on it. But I think they crush it regardless. I like this one too.
Well, May 17th, I believe. What's that? Friday?
Yes.
Or no, that's not Friday. Sorry,
hold
that's
on.
next Monday. That's the following Monday. That's Clover. So we'll wait till next Stock Watch Sunday to talk about Clover.
Yep.
But that's one, obviously, a lot of people you're asking about. We'll talk about it this week in the live streams. But more importantly, it will be in conversation next Sunday, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to do it for us, guys.
Yeah, man.
So for the 262 of you guys hung out throughout the whole live stream, we certainly appreciate you. Hit the like button if you guys wouldn't mind. We certainly would appreciate the support, the love, all that good stuff. And again, as a reminder, make sure you hit that join button next to subscribe. Become part of the crew. We'd love to have you guys there as well. Fat Man Zoom. Anything else?
Palantir to the moon, baby. Let's go. Ethereum to the moon. Ethereum 4K when we wake up. Let's do it.
Let's do this, guys. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, we'll see y'all before the bell. Peace, Smith. Fat Man Zoom. We out.
Bye.